And then I had a meeting with a group of people, and they went, excuse me, we do have a chess club. So I now apologize ahead of time. We can call it, we can make it the UCCS Tiddlywink Club. Anyone remember of that?
Really?
I don't think they exist. Information. Well, let's say there's a group out, representing the university. They could be at a conference, they could be at a competition.
Oh, you can use the chess club.
Can I use the chess club?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be accused of sexual harassment.
Expensive. You can easily use it.
Oh, expensive.
Okay, so we have a student group or an organization that is out there representing UCCS. They're out of town, they're staying in a hotel. They get finished with their conference, they get finished with their competition, they decide to go back to their hotel and play whatever, strip poker, risque truth or dare, spin the bottle. And there's someone in that group who's not comfortable with that. But also that person is not comfortable saying they're uncomfortable. Could that be sexual harassment?
Yes, it could be.
It could be. Now, I've had comments in the past. Some students have said, well, why can't that person leave the room? Well, I guess that's a question.
It makes them feel uncomfortable to leave the room, too.
That's absolutely right. It might make them very uncomfortable standing up and going, whoa, just leaving. And what if it's that person's room, too? I mean, you just don't know. I guess the bigger question is this something we should be doing when we're representing the university? So that gets to my second question. Would I want to read about this in the newspaper? So those are kind of my two questions that I always ask.
I like this is directed to us because we are leaders on campus, and before we do things like that, we need to make sure, if that were to happen, playing a game like that, is to make sure that everyone does consent before you do anything like that, because we are 20 years old, and those kind of things do happen, so it's your responsibility to, account for everyone, no matter what it is. I mean, it could be something as simple as like we were out there playing football or whatever. If for whatever reason it makes someone feel uncomfortable, they're welcome to step aside, but I think we all know each other well enough that it's not a big, it's not an issue.
Okay. Well, like you said, those are my two questions that I usually ask in a situation. Do you have any questions, comments? Well, again, thank you so much for inviting me to come to your group.
Thank you.
Especially with nowadays, we're becoming more and more what the media considers liberal when it comes to civil rights laws and allowing people to be, have their own sexuality when it comes to that sort of like the GLBTIQ community, and that's more than well. But I know I've heard of some cases where people that consider that lifestyle to be unorthodox have felt uncomfortable around that. Is that considered sexual harassment as well?
I think it would really depend on the circumstances. If there is an advertised event and you choose to go there, you have gone to that advertised event. I think you have to look at the circumstances. It works for all of us. If people, again, if it's the telling jokes or the unwanted comments, that creates a hostile, intimidating, offensive environment. Whether it's a female doing it to a male, a male doing it to a female, two females doing it to one another, two males doing it to one another.
Well, something right along those lines last semester. I don't know. I think it might have been Spectrum or that. What is it? The
GLBTIQ.
Right. I think they did it. They had a what's it called? What's that called?
Safe space training?
No.
Coming out day?
No. They had the what's it? The cross-dressing show. What's that called?
Oh yeah. Oh, the drag show.
The drag show. Thank you. They had a drag show right there in the corner, outside, where the bleachers are and all that, by Jasmine's Cafe. And I actually came in to use the bathroom, and I walked in, and it looked like a women's bathroom. There was stuff. It was blown up, and the majority of the guys in there were gay. And I actually felt really uncomfortable going to the bathroom in there. I was like, it was just weird. Then I walk out, and I'm walking out, and like you can't help but notice all these guys dressed up as women wearing high heels and stripping, and there's people sitting there watching. What to think? I mean, it confused me, to be honest with you, but it did make me feel a little uncomfortable. I'm just thinking, like, does that count as sexual harassment, or is that okay because it's organized and publicized?
You know, and then again, I think it depends. We have certain areas on this campus where activities may take place, and when they're recognized, you know, hopefully they're publicized, and we know that they're going into, you know, that kind of an event.
Okay. So in the case where, like, if it wasn't publicized to the degree like any other group doing something there, and the problem would be with the club, would be with the school for not informing the students that this was going on at this time.
Well, you know, again, how do we inform students? How do we get I think we go back to the process, and you all know the process better than I do. How do you get activities recognized? How do you get the word out there? What are the free speech areas? What are the areas recognized for having events? And the key is following those guidelines.
I mean, to add to that, there's a lot of, with this whole thing, this movement going towards a more, well, I mean, yeah, you have to understand, there has to be balance. You know, obviously, for a while there wasn't a balance in a certain area, especially considering the GLBTIQ community, and now we're basically trying to figure out exactly what is acceptable, what is a social norm, and what is acceptable for it not to be considered sexual harassment to what we would consider the Orthodox community, the people who don't consider that lifestyle their own.
I keep telling Mike he's going to take over my training someday. He's doing a great job. Any other questions or comments? I think one of the most important things, know that there are places you can come if you have questions. You know, call Rosemary. You can always call me. Go to the Dean of Students with questions. But by all means, you know, we're here to help. We're not here to be enforcers. You know, I always tease about being the Debbie Downer, but I really feel, as I said earlier, you know, claims of sexual harassment have gone down on this campus, and they've gone down system-wide. And it's not because we're ignoring things or sweeping things under the rug. I think most people think I'm out there shaking the trees and bushes, saying, "Hey, have you heard? You know, have you gotten all the information?" So I feel really good about that. I really hope that someday I'm able to stand up and say we've had no claims of sexual harassment. And I really think that is coming as people feel more comfortable knowing how to deal with situations. So again, I thank you so much, and by all means, feel free to call any of us.
Thank you.